For 5 seasons, Premier League poker has delivered some of the most exciting moments in the game.
Yeah! Get on your bike.
Don't do it!
It started in London, continued in Las Vegas, and last year made Vienna, the city of music, its home. Now the event returns to one of the most exciting cities in the world. Tonight, Season 6 of the Premier League gets underway here in London as 16 players do battle for one of the most coveted titles in poker and a piece of the $2 million prize pool. Welcome to the Party Poker Premier League. This season, Asper's Casino in Westfield, Stratford City plays host, and the backdrop is the London Olympic Park, a place where the world watched on as history was made, records were broken, and a new generation was inspired by the world's biggest sports stars. Now in East London, 16 of the greatest poker players are on their way to take part in one of the hottest tournaments in the game, and they're all focused on one goal, the Premier League trophy.
It's the Premier League, it's time to film, it's time to start this adventure.
This must be one of the most prestigious events of the year for sure.
Obviously 16 world-class poker players, and it's nice to be a part of that.
Well, it's always important and always great to win a tournament, but it's especially important when you have a select field and bragging rights that you can take with you forever.
If I could somehow possibly win back-to-back Premier Leagues, it would mean everything.
I want to win. I like money.
Well, it's a big buy-in, of course, so it would be pretty sweet to win it.
I definitely think that I can go through the field and win it all.
I feel like I'm fresh and ready to play.
Premier League is constant pressure. I'm going to fight and put them all to bed.
I'm actually a lot better poker player than people give me credit for.
I know I'm the least experienced player here. At the same time, I don't think I'm going to be an easy opponent for a lot of people either.
I've never been afraid of a challenge, and I'm not going to start now.
I should probably just be hunting down the easy games, but there's a certain point where you're like, okay, well, I want to compete against the best.
The way to succeed is delivering pain. When I win, it will feel fantastic.
Everyone's ready for the challenge. Let's bring it.
Oh, this could lead to something.
It's not a sprint, it's a slog.
Don't come into the arena unless you're clever, please.
One thing right a day. Try to practice on that.
Nice to know I'm an idiot.
Trickett, you're the only other contender.
Boom. Yeah.
No more cuddling for you, mister.
Hang on to that cab just a minute.
Mom, don't have a heart attack, okay?
I wish I went to bed earlier.
I wish I was richer and younger.
If you want to have war with me, we can bring it on.
If you or I win, can we upgrade on the way home and not fly coach?
If I got it wrong this time, I swear to God I'm going to quit poker. We've got you at a table. What a world we live in, right?
Could he be Tony's poker coach?
Oh, I think I'll call you with the 5. I got to listen to this and take it all the time.
All right, back in business.
That was really, really close. I should have just called.
You want me out? Keep it up.
It's never on you when you act.
I didn't intend to,
It's just like actual cheating at this point. It's impossible for you to be as dumb as you're acting.
You're an idiot.
Bark, 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 bark. Wait for somebody to get down, try to bite their leg.
I know your mind games.
No!
The mind games don't work with me.
If you can punch me one time, would you accept?
Yes.
Oh, how do I do it? It's not over. Don't tease.
Torture keeps grinding on.
Before the event kicks off, it's a chance for our players to mingle, relax, and assess the competition at the opening party. This is also where we find out just who will be playing who, as the draw separates our 16 into 2 groups of 8.
This is Premier League Poker Season 6.
I'm here, and there's only 16 players, and so you have a pretty good chance of winning it. And I like it's a big buy-in, so it really, you can feel the pain if you don't do well, and collect when you do.
I understand the points, I understand the structure, and I understand that there's going to be some, personal attacks, and I'm ready for all 3.
We're going to have a random draw here. Okay, this is our first player in group number A. Antonio Esfandiari.
Okay, no Phil, no Jennifer.
Jason Mercier, Group B. This is Jonathan Duhamel for Group A. And Marvin Rettenmaier, Group A. Jennifer in Group B. Kid Poker himself, Daniel Negreanu. That's the group of death. Hellmuth Phil Laak and Dan Shack in Group B.
I will crush you.
This really is the best lineup that we have ever seen on the Premier League. Each group plays 4 matches, and they're awarded points for where they finish in every game. At the end of the league stages, the top 3 players on each table will be guaranteed a place in the final. Those in 4th and 5th positions will then play heads up for the last 2 seats. And now it's time to get serious. The party is over and the opening game is upon us. Group A are in the building and they are raring to go. Tonight, joining Jessie May are Phil Laak and Jennifer Tilley. Let's get down to the game.
Anticipation can only hint at what's in store for us. Premier League Poker 6 from the Aspers Westfield Stratford City Casino. I'm Jessie May, thrilled to be joined by 2 Premier League players, Jennifer Tilley and Phil Laak. Hey, guys.
Hey, Jessie, good to see you again.
Always a pleasure to be hanging out with Jessie May. Wow, what a delicious time.
So Phil Hellmuth, serious question. How does it feel like to be the favorite at the table?
I've learned one thing, Antonio. You want an answer? I'll give you an answer.
Okay, go ahead.
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
You won me on that ball.
The people that start on me early in these things and give me a hassle, they're always scared, Antonio. They're always scared. Are you scared?
I like how he flipped it.
This is, it's who's going to be table captain, isn't it?
Who's the alpha dog? Yes, definitely.
You like that one?
That was a good one.
Edward, who's your favorite at the table?
Can't comment.
Edward, would you rather have $1 million or Phil Hellmuth's talents?
Couldn't possibly comment on that.
It's close.
What would you say if you just had like a day job? Which would you prefer?
I'd take the $1 million, obviously.
Wow, that's the burn.
The jungle's got to work on this stuff.
Seiver just points out the jungle's got to work on his questions.
His material is a little
stale.
He hasn't got the Antonio's flair.
Call 5,000? Call 5,000.
Oh, I want to make it 30,000 so bad.
No, he doesn't. He didn't even say anything. He just said, all
I
right.
do.
I want to.
I know we're in a multi-way pot and I shouldn't say anything, but Sam, he's probably got aces.
5.
He took 1 second, he said, all right. He didn't make a speech or a joke. I'm just telling you, Sam, he's probably got aces. I know my man.
Okay, now
Action flop.
we have contact.
Hellmuth probably would want to get it all in with that
And
flop.
Seiver likes having
Everybody
a queen of
got a piece
diamonds
of it.
too.
11K total. 11K.
Sam, I told you, man.
Calls
He's got
11,000.
aces.
11,000 total.
This pot is going to get big very quickly.
I think so.
I don't think he's going to raise. I think he's calling for value, figuring that it might be air value call.
He's got aces, though.
You're not allowed to do that in 3-handed pot, Scott.
3 raising to the turn. Which comes to the queen.
You're not allowed to tell the other guy what he has.
Now,
So, yeah.
Trickett's going to shut down. He's done with the hand because he's like, oh, I got called in 5 spots. All I have is air. And he knows the overcall from Seiver means a lot bigger hand than what
Right, yeah.
Hellmuth can have.
Yeah.
Overcalls, you need a bigger hand. And now he's getting the free card. So now let's see if he gets there. He needs a 5 or ace or a diamond. Wow, look at that. Runner club. No, I think
Wow. Yeah.
Seiver's checking to call. That's what Seiver's doing.
So a pot that easily could have gotten a lot
It could have gotten huge. If
And Hellmuth showed his cards to Trickett.
What do we have? What do we have? Let's see. Let's see. A little different draw than you did. Ace 5 of hearts and what? I had the ace 5 of diamonds.
Ace 5 of hearts and ace 5 of diamonds.
I had the ace 5 of diamonds.
Played it good. You know what? You might be joking, but that's the difference. I'm thrilled with how I played it.
1,000, 2,000, please.
Made the minimum.
I'm only trying to make the minimum.
Made something.
Exactly.
Actually, if he raises on the flop, he might not like it.
I'm just trying to make a little something of myself.
I might just gamble. I might just put in 100 there.
No problem.
Do you think anyone listens when he tells
You know what's funny, Antonio? Is like not one person at this
You didn't believe that he had
table
aces because he had the aces.
Right? Did anyone believe Phil when he said he might put it all in? Raise your hand. Nobody believes him right now.
Final.
You know something? I think Daniel's at his strongest when he gets to rag on Phil.
Yeah.
Correct. It's good for him because you know why? He gets the truth right away, and he finds little mistakes with what Hellmuth might say. I'm gonna
Daniel is a kinder, gentler Tony G.
Yeah.
I don't think something different. He's not using it like that.
Trickett's going to now in this hand be on super guard because he's raised with the marginal hand, his ace rag. He doesn't like even hitting an ace or an 8 or anything. He's going to be on super behavior mode. I think that Trickett is going to, since he's out of position 2.
Maybe even thinking he just pick up the line.
The most we'll see is a C bet and then check fold. Like,
and an interesting flat from Matt Marvin on the button.
Yeah. Rettenmaier's going to win the hand essentially because the best, well, now he can take a new line. He could.
Trickett might think that Rettenmaier is just called because he was on the button, and then
Trickett having the ace of clubs is big. He could go for a float, hit a club, make big, you know. But Trickett's not. He was embarrassed right out of the gate. Right, ace 8.
Yeah.
Television right now?
Yeah, he's out of position playing an inferior ace, so he's probably like, eh.
That's fine. That's a raise to steal, want bad.
I've done that so many times.
There is an interesting history in this Premier League. The players who get the bagel or knocked out first in the very first heat.
What happens, Jesse?
Well, they've had a dismal record.
Oh, that's right.
And almost certain relegation. Last season, it was Luke Schwartz and Ben Wilanowski who got the bagel in the first heat from the groups. They both got knocked out. So do you think players are especially cognizant of not getting that bagel first
I would
heat?
guess that 3 or less players know that statistic at that table.
Well, I think
the true line is probably 0.8 players.
It's good not to get off to a bad start, because I remember when I was playing the Premier mixed game, you're playing catch-up the entire rest of the...
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so I think it's good to be cautious in the first game and sort of feel your way, see how the other people play if you don't know.
And here comes a 3-bet. Up to 14K.
Yeah, 14. I thought it was
See,
a raise
that's
too.
smart, because then he can misrepresent his hand if the flop doesn't connect and take it
Right,
down.
he's got the high and low
He's got a
covered.
durable hand.
Low will connect. It's a durable hand. High.
Re-racing is a lot better than flatting there, because...
And look at this.
Look
This
at
is
that.
actually a good. This is a good play.
That good?
Yeah. I don't know what else to do. It's flat. Nobody's
I
going to
think
raise anything.
Rettenmaier really understands that he doesn't want to get the bagel, and he's just playing it cautious. He's feeling out the other guys, and he's gonna, put his money in. I played heads up with Rettenmaier. I didn't know who he was at Cannes last summer, and he really did a good job of convincing me that he was quite conservative.
And he
that
is.
Wasn't going to do anything tricky. And then when the hands got really big, I'm pretty sure he bluffed me out of
Well,
it.
he's a squeezer with moves, and that's how you win at poker.
He
and
does the small folds. He lets you get comfortable. You think, wow, I've got control of this game, and then all of a sudden, wham, you've built the pot up, and then he's like, well, I'll take that. Thank you very much.
A squeezer with moves.
And by the way,
Probably
these
like
squeezers with moves know that when times are tough, a situation might arise, but you are really playing the hands in between, but while you wait for the ace-10 of hearts or whatever you might get along the way. And by the way, I said that because Hellmuth has it, and I see it, and I just wanted to act like prescient, but I can't do that to the people. I'm telling you, I already know he has it. But like, and
Fold it
looking
around
for
a small
spots.
blind, yeah.
It's looking for spots.
It's the 5-person talk.
Something tells me Jungleman
Well, I'd love to see you.
And I think that's bad. By the way,
That's spite.
that's a
Jungleman right there,
mathematically
isn't it?
very. It's a leak. He
Well,
knows
do you
it's a
think
leak. He
that
wouldn't do this online.
Antonio goaded him into playing there?
Yes, a little bit. The energy was steered like, what? We're not seeing
But he
any
also
hands.
thinks that perhaps he's gonna be able to take him off of it.
I just think it's bad poker. You
Well,
can't
it's
fight
out
the
of
math.
position
This
also.
is like if it was suited possibly, but I don't like that it's unsuited. I actually don't like the distance between the 5 and the queen. If it's 5, 8 of clubs, fine, I'm in.
Well, Jungleman's out on a branch here.
I think he knows if Hellmuth, if he applies a lot of pressure and doesn't connect, is going to fold.
Well,
Okay.
Jungleman had a go at the flop and then shut down, and a good
Yeah.
thing, because Hellmuth was going nowhere.
You think if he bet the turn that Hellmuth would not win?
Yeah, he has to fire 2 streets.
Yeah, he's
That's
gotta
why the queen 5 is no good there. To win, you're just exposing yourself to these minus EV spots that when the guy has a real hand and whatever. Just muck it. Save yourself the whole truck. Just muck it. Whatever. I just want to let. I want to qualify. Those calling the 9-2 hearts. Right now we have so many chips. People have 300,000. Calling's going to cost you 5. That's 5 over 300. It's a 1 in 60 ratio or something. What is that?
Phil, you're backing yourself into a corner tomorrow. When you sit down at the table, you now have to play like 95% of the hands in the first level.
Well, I'm gonna, and it's what I do in tournaments all the time. And when I lose 20% of my stack, when it goes wrong, I shut down, I knit up. But when it goes right, I keep doing it. That's kind of how I play.
This is now the 3rd time Marvin Rettenmaier has gotten the ace-queen.
But This is the nicest
Wow.
one. It's a
And he's got a
suited.
suited ace queen. That's a super juicy hand.
Playing it deceptively from the big blind and flopping top pair.
And this is hand versus hand because, you know, Seiver does have the nut.
Something for everybody. You've got the open-ended straight draw and then
He has
the
a nut.
top pair.
Yeah, nut draw, though it's only for a gutter, but it's still he has Broadway cards.
Sorry. I thought he had an open-ended.
It's kind of like you have to see this as a hand, kind of, you know. And you get called, you shut down.
Not really a hand.
You're taking out what?
Yeah, how often in Scott Seiver's mind does Marvin have an ace here? Almost all the time?
Yeah, he's done with the hand. He's just trying to peel free. If he can't, he's done.
Well, that's why.
Especially because Martin was folding a lot before to pressure.
But
So now
I think the bet on the flop is right. I liked everything. Now it's check, check. I think check, fold. I mean, check, check, expose.
I think Rettenmaier probably try to value bet the river a
It
little
was a
bit.
pretty safe turn in river, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's better to just check, call, or check, not get value, because,
He's going to value bet and Seiver will fold.
yeah.
There you go.
And it's actually quite a big bet, I think.
Well, it's good to bet also because that way then Seiver doesn't see what he actually had. So nobody has actually seen any of Rettenmeier's hands, and that's an advantage. People really don't know what he's playing with or what he's doing there. So I think that protects people from seeing the way that his mind works.
And Jesse, he bet 13 into 21. That's not that
Not too
large
big.
a bet. Whatever. He bet like 60, whatever percent it is. This is a must raise. Even though he's under the gun, it's a must raise. It's suited. One of the biggest pots I lost in my life was king queen to ace queen in this exact format, where I under the gun raised, and I still hear him saying you got to raise with king queen of spades, but I think you do have to. You just have to play it more carefully than I did on that fateful day where I met ace queen. I should have known.
Trickett playing the pocket threes behind the open
I once
razor.
knew a guy named Tricky Ricky. At the end of the night, I found a stamp on my back that said Tricky Ricky on it.
Did you just say that on
Say that
television?
story. Say that story again. Say this story.
Say that on television?
Say that story again.
Wait, I wasn't.
You found a stamp on your back, Joe. That doesn't sound good.
Huh?
That doesn't sound good.
You had a stamp on your back? Sound good.
Yeah, I know. I got Tricky Ricky.
Tricky Ricky sticked you?
Sticky Tricky.
You got sticked by Tricky Ricky?
I may learn what I learned a long time ago, that it might just be right to fold king queen under the gun. But it's so hard to, and I still think it's right, even though he's going to lose some chips here.
He's unlikely to do too much here, don't you think?
Right, that's the thing. You have to lose the minimum when your
You should know
opponent
about this, Phil.
has you beat.
When you're surrounded in like group therapy, it's a lot easier to open up.
If it was a question, it wasn't me. Just so you know.
I haven't done the group therapy yet, but I wouldn't mind doing it sometime.
That's a
Now
scare card
that's
for
going to slow things down for Antonio.
But
He's
not-
probably
yeah.
not going to lose much more unless he represents the flush.
There's a lot of
A 9 or a 10, by the way, would have been
Well, Jonathan did. Yeah.
9 or 10.
He's giving it some thought.
Jonathan's not going anywhere. He has the ace of diamonds.
What would the reason?
Antonio's going to put
Because Antonio
he's
thinks he can have
representing
a
the flush.
9. He might. My opponent could have like a queen 10 or a queen 9,
And
like jack 9 or a
Duhamel will
jack 10.
call because he has a nut flush draw.
Oh, Duhamel's a must call. It could be.
And then Antonio will be done.
This 22,000 is setting up a potentially interesting situation on the river.
I'd be so impressed if Duhamel raised
Duhamel
here,
is probably going
but
to
he'll
call
probably
for value.
call,
Thinking-
and then that's the
yeah,
end of it.
he might even
as
think
far
he's
as
beat.
Antonio
He
is.
might even think my opponent has 2 pair or a set. I have to hit a diamond or maybe a queen or an ace.
This is the biggest pot so far of the heat.
82,000.
What's it, 5?
This is a super blank. This is almost like a 2 of hearts.
Yeah.
Whoever was winning the turn, now he's checking to call. And Antonio will not bet.
Antonio will
Antonio
check.
knows. Well, I think
He was
Antonio,
turning his hand into a bluff on the turn, but he might
he
fire
might be
another
going
bullet.
if he's going for value, it's a sick value bet, and it would be.
Antonio might fire another bullet. Antonio's fearless.
I don't think it's right in the long range. But maybe I'm playing too tight.
Duhamel will probably fold if Antonio fires another one, but Antonio's got to stop kneading his shoulder like that. That's a sign of weakness. If he's gonna fire another, he needs to stop.
He
his
might be
shoulder.
thinking of turning a real hand into a bluff.
Well,
but I
that's
don't
it.
think
It's
he's
a
gonna.
tricky
I think
spot,
that's
isn't
what
it,
I
Phil?
think that's what
Because
he's thinking.
He might think I might be beat, but I might fold. Like-
Antonio has the heart to do that. I've seen him do things
and he
like
would
that
just
all
go
the
all in
time.
if he thought it was if that was the number that he thought would be the only number to get him to fold, he would do it. Like that's how sick Antonio
So many
is.
times Antonio has
But
been
I
like,
think he's gonna check. I know Antonio.
He has checked it, and Duhamel probably happy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I know
a
my
close
customer.
one.
I know my customer. I know. It's a tough one. So now I think he played
Duhamel
it
didn't
well.
like his hand either.
Were you guys all asked in an interview about like if you could be in someone's brain for a day, who would you be? Were any of you guys asked that? I mean, the answer is clearly Jungleman.
Yeah,
if you answered anything else, you were incorrect.
I've got a question about that. Should I be flattered or should I feel...
A little of both, probably.
Yeah. You should be flattered that just the uniqueness of your
You know
thoughts or
Sesame
mind.
Street? One of these things is not like the other?
Yeah.
You're the other. One of these things is not like the other.
He is the natural, guy
this
forever to
scarf
pick
thing,
on.
that's
Yeah.
like popular with poker players. I think it's because Joe Navarro said to me, Joe Navarro, the FBI profiler, he said when I'm bluffing, I gulp. And that's like a big tell. So I think that's a lot of times the poker players like to wear scarves or high collars to cover that tell.
Out of nowhere. 5,000? Plus 3,000.
I didn't expect you to be the source of the most entertainment, but you are.
Oh, really? You did? What did you expect, Phil?
No, I don't know. I didn't expect anything.
Again,
So we have gutter balls and pairs and straight draws. We have a ton of stuff. Trickett's got the most legitimate hand. He's the happiest with his hand. Duhamel has presently the strongest hand. And Seiver knows he's thin, but can get there and has possible hand catch-up stuff.
Strong C-bet that Duhamel peels off, and obviously Trickett could raise here. What would the reason be, yes or no? You don't like it?
Well, he's obviously going to call a raise. I don't know. I wasn't following the flow of the hand. I don't have an opinion there.
A lot of times I like to raise when I have a draw, because when you get there, then there's already a lot of money in the pot. But if you don't get there, you can represent that you were already there.
If I had to read that Seiver and Duhamel weren't married to their hand, yeah, I'm more likely to pop something off. Now Seiver knows he's no good. He's just check folding. He's done. Now we have
action.
A stronger hand for Trickett. Now he has a pair and a straight draw and two pair draws all over the place. Duhamel has a made
Seiver
hand,
has
two
a
pair.
pair and a gut shot.
Now Duhamel will probably strike for value. It's very hard for him to imagine somebody who's got queen 10 here to pop him off or jack 9. So he's going for value. Seiver's going to fold.
Well, what's Trickett going to do here?
Call. Trickett, Triv call. Foolish re-raise.
And a huge pot. This
minus
is
EV
shaping up
raise.
to be like one of the biggest pots.
Calling and trying to hit a 9 actually, or a straight. You're not too excited about a 10, but you'll take it. It might do the trick. But he folded. I think that's a mistake from me. 27. What was the pot odds? Did he really just fold?
He did.
What were it cost him 27. How much is in the pot? There's like 50 or there's 40.
I guess there could have been a couple things you don't like. He wasn't
Maybe
closing.
He was worried about Seiver behind
he wasn't closing the action. He wasn't closing the action. Okay,
There's two diamonds
pushes
out
it.
there.
I think the fold is fine because I didn't see that he's not closing the action.
Yeah.
That's enough to tilt it. But if I was closing the action, I think I would probably peel it off.
Yeah,
because it's
that
like
was a good fold.
it wasn't too off. You know, it was less than 30 to get more than 45. That's.
Now Duhamel will be very confident here that he's got the best hand.
He
So how
knows he
much
has
do
the
you
best
bet?
hand. I would bet 65%,
60,
2/3. That's the standard go-to number, kind of. You want to fine-tune it.
Yeah, if you bet too little,
there's a
then the
draw
other
there-
person thinks you want to call. So
Well,
you bet like a
This is made
little
hand
more than half the
versus an
pot.
unknown hand. I think you can go 80% here, a little higher. Why?
80%?
The reason why is when you're betting here, you know your opponent doesn't have a super delish lickable like straight. He's going to be calling for value
You bet
if he has a hand, which means
54K.
one pair
That's
or,
like crying for
or
a
maybe an
call.
overpair. Now you know two pair is beating everything except two pair, a higher two pair, or a set or a straight. So he knows he's winning. So he's trying to, and he knows the guy if he's going to call. He's already got a made hand. It's been demonstrated. It's not like some super exotic.
I think Seiver's going to fold here. Yeah.
Yes, he's going to fold.
3/8. Must be 3/8.
Maybe.
These guys are good. Have a look at the leaderboard after the first level. 21 hands, and Jonathan Duhamel, very strong, 418,000. Scott Seiver and Sam Trickett, the two short stacks, but nothing to worry about, Phil.
A quick break in the action now, but there is plenty more to come, including a chance to get to know our lineup a little better in our player one-to-ones. Welcome back to Season 6 of Premier League Poker from London. Our first league match is underway as Group A does battle here at the Aspers Casino in Westfield, Stratford City. They're playing in a league format, so points are awarded according to where they finish, and it's really important to get a good start here in the Premier League. Let's head back now to your commentators to see how our players are getting on.
Our result, well, there's like these things called egos that everybody has, and they're not.
Well, the blinds are now up to 2 and 4,000.
It's like, okay.
Now this is a tough one. Ace-9 under the gun suited. I don't mind folding there because all you're doing is opening a tough.
I remember what Gavin Smith said really loud once. I'm never not playing a suited ace, and so I took that as my mantra.
Well, the blinds are now up to 2 and 4,000.
The way you say that matter-of-factly, as if like there's signs.
I like this.
Yeah, he's in late position.
Little raise. He's got 2 Broadway cards.
They actually differentiate.
And I like this call.
Yeah.
It's one of those hands that's strong enough to call for value, but it's too weak to raise for values. You just turn it into junk if.
Does it feel like the gloves are off now? Is it time to get into the poker here? These are some dirty hands.
The Jack-3, it's very easy to hand to get away from if things go poorly. But this is the problem. If one of his opponents had a Jack who thought better card, Jungle would be a little sad because he'd be paying off the fella, you know? He just got lucky here.
He does play in a really unorthodox way. I think he's thinking like, well, I have the reduced price and getting pot odds. And
Trickett has, 1 super overcard, some super runner. He has basically, let me just see if I can get it. But Daniel will call and we'll shut Trickett down.
Yeah.
Super egos are not necessarily tapped.
Look how impatient everybody is.
Antonio's like, tell off the hand. Antonio doesn't realize there's no clock here. It's 21 per hand. You know?
Is it any wonder that Jungleman has no trouble multitasking? The guy can play 6 tables at one time. He can carry on a conversation about dialectic and still play top pair, no kicker. No problem.
This is a reasonable good card for the Jack-3. Jungle's really worried about Jack with higher cards.
Yeah.
Now, Trickett could easily.
Caution.
I mean, he could win this with 3 barrels.
Oh, he might just win it here. I might. By the way, I would sometimes.
I folded.
Oh.
Second barrel got through.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable. I mean, what he's really looking for is an offsuit heart or a 3. Sorry, a heart or an offsuit 3 is what I meant to say.
Sam, for heats 2, 3, and 4.
That's the problem with Jack-3. If you don't hit your flush draw, or 2 3s on the flop, you really don't know where you're at.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to play them carefully. Look, he gave up a hand where he's winning the hand. That's one of the leaks that occur with the base rags. By the way, when you play a 3-5 that's suited, its power is that when it connects in a glorious way and it can build bigger pots.
No, it goes 3-6 with an ante. Yeah, close to doubles.
Definitely mine. Yeah. The way you looked at me was a bit like, I'm sure.
Big difference, though, that pot going to Trickett rather than Jungleman. It just goes to show you that it's not enough to make a hand in the big blind. That's why it's hard to play those. I mean, Trickett he's just going to barrel you off
And
those.
it's also the power of position. I mean, Trickett exploited that Jungleman was checking to him, and he's
now we're back in the poker. Earlier, these people were folding the 10-8 suited and stuff.
Yeah.
The Ace-10 suited. Now
really good hands.
and I think these are calls. This is if a guy raises and you have 10-8 of diamonds or 8-3 of hearts, you have to call.
Yeah, of course.
Antonio's on high alert. He's looking to connect harder to give up. He doesn't like all the calls.
Esfandiari starting to open up his game a little bit here, Phil. I mean, this is, I believe, the 4th or 5th hand he's played.
And he's going to try and, I think he's going to try and win.
He's got some really juicy hands that, you can get away from post-flop. Like Jack-8 of hearts, it's like.
Oh my God, I think somebody's going to go for a check. Somebody's going to try and steal this.
Well, Trickett's flopped the joint here.
Oh.
Or near enough.
Can Antonio pull back the rudder when he gets called? He has to put his opponent on the overcard flush draw thing, or a pair, or a 10, God forbid, which is the worst. And it's actually happened, meaning you're never getting him to fold. It doesn't matter what comes.
It's a quite standard call here for Trickett.
Super standard. You don't want to open the door there.
What is Mad Marvin up to? He's not done with his hand yet, or is he?
Well, he's thinking, hey, C-bet with air, call with a pair of 7s. I can maybe represent the 10. And look, by the way, if you were to bluff here, it's hard to call with the 10-8. But he's going to do the wise thing. I think this is a good play.
The thing is,
Trickett was sweating that, by the way, just so you know.
When there is a paired board, it's pretty easy to assume that nobody has, because there's only 2 more 10s out there.
This one of the big matchups in the Premier League. Don't forget, these two faced off in July for $18 million in the biggest poker tournament that has ever been held.
And Antonio on the left made 18.346 million, and Trickett made 10 point something million.
Bad day for Sam Trickett, second place, worth $10 million in the World Series. But these guys have history. These guys have history.
They're both aware that the other player can play with error, and so they're taking that into consideration.
Antonio's gonna fold.
Yeah, too many
It's
things
gonna kill him
there.
though, because
he doesn't like to fold.
he would have to represent a set of sixes. It's like too thin a range to rep, so you have to just go. And sometimes your opponents connect, and sometimes they connect powerful, and they're not going anywhere, and he knew that. So that was good.
Trickett back into the fray here. And Esfandiari, you could say he was wishing he had about 300 more big blinds, so he could have made a few little plays.
And he still feels he's like now joined this previous ranks of Seiver and Trickett, who had the 250. Now he's down at the 240 mark, but still it's not. Nothing's lost here. Nothing is lost. The blinds are still early.
Yeah, everyone's still very much in the game. It's anybody's game.
These guys have sat down and all just clammed up, basically.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, you know, everybody realizes, I think, how important it is to get some points and not be the first one out in the first game. And so I think everyone's just going to kind of wait until they have to play.
Yeah, when you think thievery and poker,
it's not like a cash game where you can reload. The point system, it's very important to go deep in this sit and go.
Historically, around 18 points has been the number
to get you through.
To get you through in the top
9-3 of clubs. By the way, I would have played A7.
Top 5
played 2
to have a chance at that final table where a lot of the prize money is.
And I think that from this point forward in my commentary career, I'm going to stop saying I would have played the 9-2 at clubs because they're just going to think I'm a like total hoplatron.
Hoplatron.
And look at Esfandiari peeling off from the big blind with the raggedy.
Did he call a raise? I don't like that. If he called a raise there, this is just like the Queen 5 earlier that Jungle had. This is just not the hands to defend with. They're just too troublesome. I mean, look, even here you're sick. You might even have the best hand, but you have to fold. It's just like, why? It's just not.
Tough to float on a paired board, isn't it? Or is it?
He's representing a flush draw.
There's
or
a flush draw.
A jack.
I think he thinks that
he's going to try and get it later.
He's going to see what happens on the turn.
Now he's going to check because he made a hand, actually.
Yeah.
If he didn't get there, he might have bluffed it.
Right.
But, well, no, he might bet it. He's going to bet it. He will bet it because he's thinking the ace-jack will call.
Yeah.
And think I might have a flip.
Yeah,
he might
I
check.
think he's pretty sure that Duhamel does not have a king. He thinks maybe he has 8s or...
I would bet here 60% of the pot. That's what I would do. Because if the guy has a flush draw, you want to make him pay. And if he has a jack, you want him to call.
Well, he took time with his decision, but decided to check it.
He will bet here. If Duhamel checks, Antonio will go for value. He'll bet like 20, I think. This is a must 20, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Jesse?
A must 20, is that a new poker term?
That's where you bet about half the pot. You just do it for value because it's just, you got to earn, you know? You got to pay the rent.
24.
24 is the bet. Jonathan gives it up, and Esfandiari, he's trying hard, isn't he? I mean, he's not going to let the cards decide his fate.
Yeah,
here.
no. Esfandiari never waits for cards to
And it's
come to
interesting.
him.
Look at how Antonio's old school. He doesn't play online poker. He plays cash games. Look at how he tried to get his maneuvering done with the flop. And Duhamel, who's seen the 20 million hands of poker online, did his maneuvering pre-flop. Technical flow, you know.
By the way, that is a stunning watch.
What,
Antonio's? No?
Where is it? I don't see it.
It's a little brass-plated looking thing.
You gotta have a Cracker Jack box.
Got it on Oxford Street.
No, it's a nice watch. I think it's I know.
The thing is, when you have a nice watch and you take that hand and you put your hand, your forehead in your hand a lot, and you shuffle your chips with the watch hand.
I bet, you know, it's as far as watches go, it's the kind of watch, if I were to wear a watch, I'd wear, because it's less showy and more, you know, stately and manly and
mean, I just hear the man's been working real hard.
You need a watch that can withstand a lot of shock, don't you, Phil? In case you fall out of a plane, off a tractor.
I have life proof on my phone, shock proof, waterproof, everything.
Yeah, he's got a cage for his cell phone. He's always hurtling his phone at the floor to show people how strong his lock is.
These are must raise, must call hands. This is this Queen Jack of clubs. By the way, this hand out of position is too strong to raise with, because when you get re-raised, you're just losing all the value that Queen Jack had. So this is value hand against
two super juicy hands.
Antonio has by far been involved in the most pots so far in this heat, wouldn't you say?
And he's been willing to take the most lines, if you know what I'm saying.
The thing is, when you're
He
really
might go
active,
for a steal here. You might go for it.
when you're really active and you actually hit your hand, you get paid off because people notice you play every hand and they're like, oh.
By the way, I bet you anything now it's going to be if it went check, he would call for value possibly, and the flush draw.
He's going to bet the turn because he's got the flush draw now, and he figures the other guy doesn't have anything.
He also has
The other
value
guy
hands, because if
Seiver,
your opponent has 2 10s there, you still have the queen, the jack. Never mind the clubs, but you can still. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was a connect. Your hand has value there. You can bet it. That's fine. There's a close-up on the watch. If the watch experts could just type into the party poker chat log and let everyone know what kind of watch that is, that would be helpful. Because then Jesse and I won't look so watch illiterate. We can, Jennifer. You know.
One thing Phil is not an expert on, and that's bling.
Correct.
He's not a bling expert. Pot odds? Yes. Bling.
Pot odds, hair colors, right? How many hair colors have you had, Phil?
I've had everything. I've had a double mohawk, a regular mohawk. I've had checkered head, bald head. I've had dyed red mohawks. I've had the number 7 on both sides of my head. And now I'm sporting the just built
Back to the
Captain Sensible 1970s look.
Captain Sensible, what?
1970, 1980.
I love it. That reference even went over my head.
They don't know.
He is in English. He had a
they're all going broke,
a
but then
punk
things are
band
just
back
all
in
running
the
bad.
80s. We just learned this today.
Like a new element in poker.
They don't get it.
Raise to 9,000.
Here comes Daniel.
With the real hand.
Yeah, I think flipping for like $500 is stupid.
Now, because of Antonio's image at this table, playing a lot of hands, is it more likely that he should re-raise 3-bet?
I would not re-raise 3-bet with
He can get into some trouble.
And I wouldn't
can
do
he?
it. By the way, I get in trouble from the internet forums when I flat with queens.
Learning a lot today.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. No one has a
And we haven't played a pot together in very long time.
Years.
Everyone has
years.
The NBC heads up like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, you beat me. Nice memory.
I played, and then
best of everything, right?
That's what I thought. I played the best.
Check.
Wow.
In the interview,
This is a tough one because they.
Look at Negreanu. When he gets in a pot, he squares off against his opponent, doesn't he?
He does.
There's no mistaking
Negreanu's thinking
that he's involved.
Antonio could not have connected with this.
He's probably going to just fold.
He'll fold.
He's shown too much weakness with that first 4 seconds right there. It's kind of like.
Yeah, and plus he's got a low spade.
It
And
doesn't count. It's justified.
What kind of history do these guys have together? I mean, obviously, they've both been around a long time.
Oh, this is a tough line to play. If you play it, you're just making a read-based decision in it. I don't.
And
I'm
there
not
is
good
no
enough.
card on the turn that can make Daniel thrilled, is there?
By the way, if I had pocket 3s on this flop, I would turn my real hand into a bluff and C-bet donk lead onto the flop. That's the way I would handle this. I don't like calling here because you just don't know where you're at. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I don't like I mean, Antonio might shut down easily, whatever, and Negreanu wins, but.
Negreanu doesn't like the turn. Can't like the turn there.
Antonio's thinking my opponent has what? My opponent has what? Raggedy spade with an 8?
They're both thinking correctly that the other person could not have connected with that flop. But I think Negreanu does not think that
Negreanu will now
Antonio-
fold.
now
Negreanu's
fold.
done with the hand now. I mean, I think he's got to be done, right? This is the problem with 3s. It's just the decision tree is not easy later in the hand.
And it's a lot of pressure for Negreanu here. Look at his stack. I mean, if he decides to make a play
It's
here
for a
and
stack,
it goes
yeah,
wrong,
right.
this could be 125,000.
Because if he wants to raise, he's got to put in half his stack to raise to like 150 or something. So he's just going to let it go. There's too many opportunities later to catch a real hand.
Did he bottle it?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. It was just one of the problems with 3s. If you should really kind of, you can take one line, one. It's
I know
fine.
if I saw 3 spades come out, if I saw that flop, I would take a stab at it with 3s because I would think my 3s were good and then shut down.
Plenty more Premier League Poker 6 to come. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Party Poker Premier League Poker 6. This season, we are at Asper's Casino in Westfield, London. There's still 8 at the table in the first league match. Let's head back over to your commentary team.
Oh.
This is a nice set, by the way. They Premier League has outdone themselves
I love
again.
it.
Lots of prints around the walls, beautiful pictures of London.
This is a great location.
There's a beautiful picture of my girl on the wall, too.
Oh, yeah. If they swing the camera
To the
around.
right, on the right-hand side.
Raise to 8,000. Call 8. Call.
Seiver, this is a must raise. And
Seiver's been raising a lot and dribbling away. He's gotten away from a lot of pots on the flop and turn. I think he's only won 1 pot tonight, or maybe 2.
Yep. And this is what's tough about poker. You know, he has a real hand here. It might miss. Things could go, you know.
I'm unstuck. I don't know. I don't get to play as many.
And now anyone can win this hand, even though the jack is. Oh wow, the ace-5. I didn't even see that. This is.
Jungleman playing quite loose from his big blind, don't you think? Or he's in the small blind here, in fact.
I like everyone's play on that
big
card.
He's played his hand, sort of weak hands on the small blind. This is like the 3rd time.
I don't know. I would. I guess this is fine.
I'm gonna see where he's at.
15K takes it down.
The thing is, it's almost never wrong to bet value hands that you're unsure of, because you have to defend your range. You can't just be betting just perfect hands all the time. You have to bluff and bet the middly hands too. You can't.
He's such a unique personality, Jungleman, for this Premier League. You kind of, when you look at him there, it almost looks like he's dwarfed by the other players. But at the same time, he's so quietly confident. You know, he doesn't get rattled.
Right.
I played in a casino with Jungleman, and he played for a couple hours, and he just kept taking chips from everybody. Nobody knew who he was. But, I mean, he made a lot of money in 2 hours.
That was at the Bellagio. We were playing cash games.
I think he made like $30,000 in 2 hours.
So Marvin's been very quiet. I think it's because this is Marvin's first time to play with a handful of these players, like all at the same time in one of these televised forums. He's been crushing it in the tournaments, like out there and getting to final tables. So we've seen a few of these people here and there meet him along the way.
Television poker is different because sometimes it's hard to get in a rhythm, and sometimes you get like the lights and, you know, just the slowness of it and the being on TV of it. It takes a little getting used to.
And it's a little bit different, you know, when you have one guy at your table who's maybe a loudmouth and picking on you a little bit, and if you have 6 of them, or just all over you, it can be, even for a guy with a strong personality, it can be intimidating.
Does anyone want to bet?
Oh, you think you know what he had?
No, I just want to bet.
You just want to gamble?
Trickett thinks he was bluffing.
10,000.
You guys make a bet. I'll tell you the truth. You guys make a $500 or more bet.
We can find out anyway.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Hey, let's just do it now. Dynasty, you know. I want
Pain,
someone
yeah,
to
the
get
man wants
punished.
to see pain.
What?
Nothing wrong with that. I said the man wants to see pain.
I want to see pain.
I think I had the second.
Raise from Duhamel, and Phil Hellmuth is on the button here with the decision.
Go ahead, Phil.
What?
I said go ahead.
I'm thinking
These are great hands.
I don't know, it almost seems like...
Raise. Duhamel re-raise?
Vocabulary.
No, Duhamel raise.
He made it
and
10
it cost
and
10 to call.
Trickett flatted.
And this is a definite raise and a definite call. This is standard poker so far.
What about Phil's fold? What do you think of that?
What did he have?
He had ace 10 on the button.
I would fold it.
On the button.
It's offsuit, I would fold.
It has a lot to do with how you feel.
Okay, and he would be ahead. I'm quitting poker, Jesse. I've gotten everyone
wrong. He
wrong.
wouldn't know if he was ahead. He's got like a raise and a flat, so he wouldn't really know where he was at there.
Duhamel's just, this is a C-bet. Trickett, this is, you know, Trickett might call.
He has to call one time. What should happen on the turn?
Well, Duhamel will probably check, and then Trickett will check, and now the pot might get checked down too, because in the river, I think it's going to go check to the river, unless Duhamel picks up like a 10.
In your case, it's something else. It's called jam.
That's
now
a
it's
bad
a no.
card.
Yeah.
Now Trickett knows he has the best hand, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Now it's gonna go check, check, or maybe check.
Trickett will probably bet now, I'm thinking.
Probably.
He knows now. He's pretty sure Duhamel does not have an ace, and he's going to value bet his queen.
I don't think so. You're just.
That's why he's Trickett.
No, well, because you ace 10 and ace 9, these raggedy hands are gonna get in there.
I'll take number 1.
Wow.
Now I think it's gonna go check, check again. Because if I have an ace there, I'm not going to bet. I'm going to try and hang my opponent, right? Or maybe I would bet. No, I would bet an ace. Okay. So I guess if it goes bet, it's going to go call, or check, it's going to go...
Yeah, that New York one's unreal.
It's going to go check, check. That's what it's going to happen. It's check, check.
Well, it's an interesting spot for Duhamel. Is there anything he can represent? He says no.
And Trickett knows he can't get called by anything. It's only pocket 10s that would peel him off. And he has the best hand. He knows it. But I think I wouldn't do this play because you're not getting called by a hand that's
Well,
worse.
if he had pocket 7s or pocket 10s or something, he might call. Yeah.
That's why I don't like that bet. Even though you know, but sometimes I make it anyways because you don't want your opponent to know what you had.
Yeah.
So for that, you know you're.
Also, too, on the river, I think he's pretty sure that he has the best hand.
No, he knows it. Duhamel knows it. But you know, when you bet there, Duhamel knows that he's beat, but he can now raise.
Well, he would also maybe get called by a weaker queen.
Or just an ace. No, he's only getting called by an ace.
A little smile there from Duhamel. I think he's enjoying himself here.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is.
I mean, it's a good feeling to be you're pretty much ahead of everybody else, and.
But like to summarize my thoughts, the Trickett bet is fine because he knows he's not getting called, but there's very little value in it because you're not getting called often enough with hands weaker than you to justify it against the weighted odds of you getting check raised with air or a real hand.
That's true.
So I just think it's a check on the river, but that's tight fill. I'm a nit, whatever, curse me, whatever. That's my.
Well, you need 3 final tables in the Premier.
It was all a fluke, baby. It was all a fluke. Come on, we know it was a fluke.
It is with this quality of players, though, and it's so evident. It is those marginal situations, those extra value, the extra street. That's the difference.
And sometimes these people will call it. You know, he might have called with 10s. I don't know.
What's the most important thing in life?
The most important thing in life?
It's easy.
Happiness.
That's true. It's not true. What's the most important thing?
Sadness.
Health?
You don't think?
Well, you can't really be too happy if you're not healthy, I guess. I mean, if you have bad health.
Maybe happiness is more important.
QOL.
3 race.
I mean, I'd rather be happy and unhealthy versus miserable and healthy. So I go with jungle.
You need shelter, food, self-actualization.
All those things are linked together.
All of a sudden,
But look at
the
that.
beast comes out.
Gotta have jewelry.
That's
what
I
life's
think
about.
I would call here. You get 4,000. Well, maybe not. What is what
With
can
a
you
small
win?
pocket pair only if you flop a
Ace 10, 2, 6, U1. He's putting in 270. He's putting. I would not call with the 27K. Also, Hellmuth might be flatting with queens and open it.
You wouldn't
I
call.
would
Is there a
fold.
4-bet here?
What's the ninth most important thing?
Corvette.
Ninth most important.
Tricky.
Tricky. That's tricky. You're a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
Tricky's on your mind.
Thank you, mate.
You can't get tricky out your head.
No, no.
It's gonna be the word that just makes the whole table just light up.
Phil is going into his thinking zone, and this
Phil,
is.
you could just tell he hates putting it in, and he feels like he has
No,
to.
he's thinking of possibly raising. He knows it's a minimum call, and he's thinking.
But he did that sort of disgusted, ugh, I can't believe I have to call, so I think if people are watching him, the raise is not going to work.
It's no limit, so if he wants, he can pull the trigger, and if he does, he will win the money, and he will have the best hand.
Is this
But
though?
if you look at his face and if you looked at his body language when he picked up the chips, it seemed like his initial reaction was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm priced in.
Antonio.
Right,
He's
yeah.
gonna fold, he'll fold.
No, he's never folding, baby. He's either call.
This is the kind of spot where he tries to get a read on the other players, right? This is where Hellmuth becomes Hellmuth.
Right.
This is like where he drinks his can of spinach.
Yeah.
Remember, he's putting in for 27 to get. It's 1 to 10 ratio, but there's already 2 units out there. He's always going to call.
Yeah, but he's not going to
If he
raise.
had something like Jacks, he would probably
I'm
raise.
so shocked you didn't say family.
Pretty selfish.
I would have been a ton.
What a nit! What is he doing? How does he have that hat with 13 on it? Get this kid out. Get a bicycle. Where's Tony G? Get him a bike. That's bad poker. I don't know.
He doesn't need his sticks in his.
It is so.
Fire me! I've done everything
coming
wrong.
6-6 deuce. That's.
That would be hysterical.
I don't get it. What do you think, Jesse? Would you fold fold there? Honest, you can't fold there. It's 1 to 10 on your stack. It's 10% of your stack, but there's 2.5 units out there, and somebody might have a big hand.
I think company line is not to fold, but you only have a limited amount of chips in this format, and he's thinking like, you know, he doesn't want to be the first or the second person out, so he just doesn't want to unnecessarily jeopardize his chips. In a cash game would be a no-brainer to call, but
Phil, I can only, it's upside versus downside, and I guess
there's no downside. He's gonna fold whenever he doesn't hit a 6. He's set pedaling. It's a tournament. You gotta get
when you
points.
look at like $37,000, that's almost like a 6 of his stack. My math is bad, but you know, it's a.
Well, he puts in 30 about. He gets about. There's 90 in the pot already. That's just sitting there. And,
But post flop, if he doesn't hit a set, then he has to give up.
Correct.
So.
But when he hits, he
I
might
mean,
hit.
I understand the pot odds, but I'm just thinking like.
You kind of need 15 to 1 in a cash game. He's got 3
Yeah.
out there, and he's gonna get 11 to 1 on his money. So he's got 14 total units. That could be
How long were you
1.
thinking about that fold? What was going through your mind?
Damn it, I missed. I was like, damn it, I missed the flop.
You'll miss your UTG hand, that's it. Oh no, here he comes.
I was gonna say, if you fold, I'll just play really
Raise to
slowly,
10,000.
but that doesn't work when you play the hand.
Rettenmaier starting off perhaps a little conservative. Last year at the WPT Bratislava, they had a huge baby grand, well, not a huge, but a baby grand in the lobby, and Marvin played it all night long.
Now look what did happen here. Phil Hellmuth folded King 9 of spades.
Cool.
I think I like folding it now. It's a flow thing. I agree with his King 9 fold. His nemesis of lifetime nemesis is Antonio. So why play Antonio without a hand that you know is superior? Jungleman flats with queens, which I don't mind.
Could be in trouble here.
You know, I do that a lot, and I get lamb blasted all the time. Whatever. Ace 9 of clubs is a must call, and now we have the flop.
I mean, the Jungleman was super ready for a squeeze, but if Marvin had gotten frisky behind.
Yeah, now he was ready to
Antonio's gotta
douse,
think
to
he has
trounce
the
him.
best hand here. He's gonna bet.
He's going to bet for value and shut down.
Jungleman will flat.
Yeah. Or maybe raise. He
I
might.
think he'll flatten.
I would flat personally. That way, if somebody.
Does Antonio have to worry about doing a lot of chips here?
No, I think the thing is, it might be right to raise, though my play is more conservative. I would probably call, but it might be right to raise.
He's such a dynamic player, isn't he, Jungleman? He sits there like a lump and then flats with the queens and raises the flop. It's also unorthodox.
Right.
And it's good. It's in a way, if you think. If you were learning poker the first day, it would all make sense to you. You're like, queens, okay, well, the flop can be dangerous. Now you dodge the ace and the king on the flop. Now you have an overpair. Let's put more money in. Let's raise to do it. It's all very fundamentally level A, rock, paper, scissors, pick rock. You know?
But see, Antonio's
Look at
thinking
this.
he's making a move there.
Right. My opponent could have 4-6 gutter ball
Or
like
ace king or king queen. He thinks if he doesn't hit one of his cards on the turn, then he'll give up. Antonio's going to probably lead out on the turn.
now Antonio might represent a 10 jack or whatever.
I mean, these days that flop raise is very polarizing, isn't it? It either
I think he's
players
gonna-
do it with
yeah.
everything or nothing.
And you know, Jungle's definitely going to bet for value. It looks like his opponent has king 10, ace 10, or you know, maybe ace queen, ace king, and these are all good cards for 10 for a jack on the turn as well. So he's betting for value now. He's going to bet like 73 if I had to guess. There's 112 out there. Jungle likes odd numbers.
I wonder if Antonio can figure this out.
Oh, Antonio will fold now. Antonio's going to put it. He was calling to shut him to learn and see, and maybe my hand's the best, but now he's getting too much information. A bet's going to come in.
Look how interested everyone else is at the table.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really fascinated with this hand. They know this is a bit of a weird hand.
Yeah, and I think that Jungleman hasn't been very active, and they're trying to get like a read on what kind of hands he plays and how he plays. Everybody wants to see what he
I like how
has.
Jungle's doing this, like, he's gone back and forth, and should I bet, shouldn't I?
He finally got the attention of the table,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah,
What did he bet? My guess was 73, and he bet
Doesn't have to do it by
45. Oh,
talking.
wow, he's going for super. He's done this before. No, who did this? Yevgeny does this, where he bets small to induce a check raise bluff and then call. He is doing this to induce a raise from Antonio. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. This is how Jungle thinks. It's like level 6. He knows that this is the guy that can do the check raise. Oh my God, but you know what?
Level 6.
I think he is operating on level 6. That's why he bet small.
So funny.
And he's
Antonio
also
doesn't know what to make of it. Look at
Now,
him.
how many levels can Esfandiari handle? Can he get to 7?
Esfandiari could have
He
4
doesn't
6 of
like
hearts,
it.
and this would be a spot where he might.
I think Antonio's going to let it go.
He's put Antonio in a very difficult situation, hasn't he? Because Antonio knows
He's getting the value now out of it.
Antonio knows that the 2 7s
can be good a lot of the time.
Right,
Maybe
and
my
he's not
opponent
worried.
has
It's either nothing or everything. He's either drawing dead or he's got him crushed.
Okay,
Wow,
now this
okay.
is not good for Antonio.
Check.
TJ,
Showdown, please.
I have queens.
Yeah, and shuts down properly.
Right,
The
yeah.
river. I would
The
not
river
bet
did
for
catch-
value either. On the river, I don't bet for value. I don't know if it's
No.
right or wrong, but
I thought that was very well played. And we have a new chip leader.
By the way, that scarf that Jungleman is wearing, I was with him when he picked it up in Morocco.
Oh, it's nice.
He's become a huge world traveler. He's just, since he's gotten out of decided to leave home, he's never stopped.
I've like crushed high stakes poker for some time. Some of the most proud moments I've got, there's beating Durr. I remember one night in particular, I was actually like stuck like 500,000 against him. And then I just started beating him really badly and then crushing him. And then I eventually won that 500,000 back and then won another 500,000. So that was a good day. I ran pretty well for the Premier League last year, so I got second place. I lost to Scott Seiver. He's really smart, he's also really good. He's made tons of money. He's also got a really big ego, that guy. I'm gonna guess that his ego is about as big as Sam's, not quite as big as Phil Hellmuth's. I don't have any tournament titles, so I think I'm due. Keep my fingers crossed. Yeah, that's the plan.
Whoa.
I'm so fascinated because this is the first time I've seen Antonio since the 1-drop, and obviously the year he's had, there may never be a year in poker like that.
it's
he
so
won the
sick.
1-drop,
And then
he
got
won
a bracelet. And then he came in 9th at Bay 101. He had jacks versus ace king and lost the flip. If he had won that, he would have been chip leader. Just, last week or whatever.
Yeah, Antonio's been having a fantastic year.
And he's losing footing in this match. Now, he doesn't like this. He's early position, raising with ace-queen, offsuit, getting a call. He's like, and now he knows he needs value connect to get there.
Fascinating stuff how Jungleman took a weird line there and got chips that no one else would have gotten.
Yes.
I mean, that's the key in the Premier League, a little bit. You're playing, this is no ordinary field.
Right. For him to flat the flop, he has to be fairly certain that Marvin was going to fold behind him.
This is,
And then he forces Antonio to make decision out of position on the turn and maybe put some more money in.
So Antonio loves the ace of clubs in his hand. This is the driving force behind him betting here. He's repping the king. He's got the backup super runner draw. He knows no one can have the nut flush draw. These are all super reasons to bet that dry flop. As far as what is it called? Numeral proximity. There's a low straight draw, and as the flush, it's not rainbow, but still.
Daniel's having a good old think here.
Well,
he didn't realize the action was on him.
Oh, that's
okay.
funny.
I was wondering what was going on there because I was like,
He's already folded
I would
in
fold
his
that.
mind.
He's set pedaling. He knows
The
what's
thing
going
is
on.
that what the players
This could be
know
a call. I would call this. Did
is
he
that
call? He
Antonio
folded.
just took a big hit, and so he's not going to get out of line on the very next hand, is what they're thinking.
Right.
So I think that's, if he hadn't just taken that hit from
Right. Duhamel might have looked him
Jungleman,
up, but
yeah,
the
they might have looked
flow
him up.
construct dictates that Duhamel might just fold tight there,
And they got punished.
Duhamel's playing very tight. He's made more of the time, and then he's also done the most pre-flop chicanery. Is that the right word, chicanery, or
That's
something?
a very good word that I never really thought I would hear in a poker broadcast.
It's a great word.
With that little,
The turn of the century word.
he jiggled out some value with his air rebluff thing, whatever it was.
Hijinks.
Scott Seiver
Yeah.
has been sort of
Quiet,
silent
yeah.
for a while. And you notice in the beginning, like you were saying, Jesse, everybody was talking and having a good old time, and now all of a sudden there's like $125,000 at stake.
Yeah, and Seiver's also had to retreat because of his stack. You can't be the loudmouth with no chips. can you?
Yeah, he's down to 238, but he's playing this hand, boys and girls. He has a dominant ace-jack of hearts. It's very sexy in a button. Negreanu, I like his raise too with 10-6. I like the call. Everyone's playing how I would play is what I'm saying. Who
If
cares?
hearts came out, we'd have
This is
some
a fold.
fireworks here.
By the way, he might raise, but this is, I think, a fold. It's too. He knows Daniel opens wider than most people, and he knows Seiver's calling. Yeah, he's gonna go for it.
The thing I like-
that's a guy who wants to win.
The thing I like about Antonio, he's always thinking.
Going for these spots.
Like
He's
most
always,
people look at Jack 2 and they say, yeah.
But I don't think Seiver's gonna let go here. I think
Yeah.
Seiver knows that Antonio, how he thinks and stuff. Look at this. Negreanu's the type that, oh my God, Seiver might get priced in by the math of, oh wait, unless
Phil,
Negreanu goes for a what is going on here?
I
He's
mean,
gonna-
is this the difference between playing at a normal table and playing with, as you say, super geniuses? These guys are all, they know what could be going on.
Yeah, they're looking at hands like
Antonio
Negreanu.
hates his spot right now. He's like, what am I doing? You know, I know his hands
the
up.
ones
The
to get
watch
his
hand is up.
back, right.
He's trying to display confidence. He's got
Right.
his testosterone watch like on display. You know?
Negreanu knows something's up, but he's worried about the people behind him. Yeah.
No, he's just worried about his hand. His
sweating
hand
this right
ultimately
now.
he folded because his hand doesn't have good
Right.
play value. If he had 5-4
But the fact
clubs, he
that
might have.
he even considered it.
Oh, that was Seiver's big moment.
I was sure you guys were never gonna believe me that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he could have collected.
This is how Antonio wins tournaments.
Halfway through the second level, look at the V-chip percentages. Hellmuth, surprise, he's the tightest player at the table so far.
Yep. And as we expected, Negreanu and Antonio way up there with the aggression.
With all of our players looking to take down the ultimate prize in poker, it's turning out to be a very tough opening game. We'll be back with more action from this season's Party Poker Premier League in just a moment. Welcome back to Premier League Poker here at Asper's Casino, Westfield. Last year was a success for Scott Seiver as he defeated Daniel Jungleman Cates to claim the Premier League title in Vienna. Now he's back to defend his crown, but he has 15 other top poker players standing in his way. This Premier League contest is on, and cards are back in the air in our first league match. Let's go down to the table.
Antonio taking a little comfort break. He's going to miss a hand on his button.
Well, when you win 18.4 million, you can miss a hand on your button for a 125K tournament. It's okay. The value of each hand here is only 600 pounds or something. You know, it's like no, it's probably, let's see, it's probably closer to like $200 or $300 per hand or something. Maybe no, it's probably more than that. It's probably worth
Raise to 9,000.
500 or 1,000 maybe. I don't know. It's a lot. Hands are valuable right now. You paid 125K. I'd have to sit down with a Seiver type and work out the value of each hand, but they're expensive to miss.
Well, Negreanu on the attack, and look at the Esfandiari 9-5 suited. But isn't there something
and
going on
he didn't miss
here?
a hand. Wait, did he run away and get back before?
He got back in time.
He's a beast, and now his heart's going. He was wanted to maybe.
Oh, yeah.
When you're looking at the way this heat, not this heat, but this group is going to play out, do you see Negreanu getting a lot of trouble from Duhamel and Esfandiari? They're kind of, they seem to be on top of him.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw him sprinting. I went to, I didn't see him
Duhamel just made a
sprinting
value
back
call.
here.
This is like. Oh, what? Oh, Antonio would have flopped a flush with 9-5 of clubs. He should have flatted.
Wow.
I'm always saying call with the 9-2 of clubs. Well, I would have called with the 9-5 of clubs.
That's the difference.
You don't have to raise with that hand. It's actually a real hand. It's only got a, 6, 7, 8. It's a 3-gapper.
On Antonio, or did he run away again?
He's going to be a bit sick here, isn't he?
If he was there, it would be really good to get a close-up of
Hold
his
on.
sick face.
Negreanu's got the ace of clubs, and he can win by getting a club. If Antonio had called, we might have seen a big pot.
And this is a good pot for Daniel. He needed one to sort of
rabbit hunt that.
Yeah.
Let's see if Antonio's hand would have held up. Can you rabbit hunt the next 2 cards? Really quick putting by the camera, no?
Are you guys going to Carnival?
In Rio?
Yeah.
It just happened. It's over.
Yeah, I know. Well, are you planning on going into it in the future?
It just ended like a week ago.
Yeah, I understand this.
I think he's just needling you, and I don't really.
I think that probably is what's going on.
It's not very nice, to be honest.
Antonio's very good at what he does. The problem is it's such a narrow range of what he does, so it's always the same style. But he's the world's best at it.
I do need the material.
Yeah. They'll play one off the other and then step backwards. is a time-honored classic.
Been done. Been there, done that.
But Scott Seiver throwing
It's not
such
broke.
elegant pros and showing and exposing Antonio for what he was doing, you know?
Scott Seiver is a smart guy.
I
He's
love
part
Scott
of the
Seiver.
Brown crew, isn't he?
I was lucky. Today I was in a car with him for 45 minutes. It was I would have paid for that experience. It was awesome.
Well, look at this. Jungleman has pocket king.
We are seeing something happen here.
Well, Trickett opened to 10 and Hellmuth re-raised to 30,000.
Jungle, you are a beauty. Wow, a little Hellmuth Jungleman action. I like this. I'm gonna have to stand up for this.
This is a Hellmuth hand. I might need to stretch to prepare for this.
I want some maybe we get a Hellmuth blow up. What are the chances of that?
Can we go in the back and do commentary?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Commentary from the back, but not too far back. We gotta see the action.
We gotta spot this stuff. Oh, this is beautiful. I love that.
I hope we get a little Hellmuth, blow up.
I mean, almost no matter what, we're gonna hear something.
Alarm bells have gone off in Hellmuth's head.
I guarantee you, well, he might get a little bit more.
Hellmuth.
He might get 35 more, but that's it.
He's gonna
If
bet.
it's gonna if it goes bet and called, then it's shut down, bet fold. Do you know what I'm saying? And if it goes raise here, Hellmuth is folding.
But it's such a strange line to take with a overpair like.
It is, but it's beautiful because he's gotten an extra 40 right now.
Right.
Jungle is the best because where I was with a re-raise and gotten a fold. Well, maybe he doesn't fold, but I think he's going to fold. Now Jungle's getting 40 simple, and he's a massive favorite to get more. He only flats. Maybe he is the best. This is a super blank. No
Hellmuth
diamond.
has made that bet to get him off ace-king. Now he's done with it, you think?
Insta-check.
Hellmuth knows he's done?
Yeah, and he insta-checked, thinking I'm facing
Hellmuth
jacks.
check already?
But I guarantee you this, Hellmuth thinks I'm facing jacks. I may be facing tens or jacks. He's not thinking kings.
Yeah.
Does Jungleman want to check here to try and get value on the river, or is that?
No, I think you got to bet. I think you just bet like.
I think he's probably polarized Hellmuth's
bet
range.
60.
He knows Hellmuth has probably
I would bet 60.
He's checked back.
This is not the. This is a.
So now the flush got there, which.
No one bet the flush.
He's firing all the crazy cylinders right
By
now.
the way,
isn't he?
no one has a 4. This is a blank. I mean, no one really has a flush draw, I think. It's going to be check, bet, call. Check, bet, fold.
Not
draw.
even Phil Hellmuth can put Jungleman on kings right now.
It's going to be a
he's
fold.
made the big bet.
Oh, wow.
I think
It's
he'll
going to be
call.
a fold, and it's a value bet. It's not like trying to turn his hand into a bluff or trying to get something to...
How much did he bet?
But he doesn't think he's getting called, I don't think. A lot. He bet a lot. 130. But he knows he's good. This is just like, and look at this. He's putting Hellmuth to the test of like, oh, I know I'm beating bluffs. This is a bluff catcher
I
every
think
way.
Hellmuth is going to call because he's like these internet geniuses. They're not going to make a monkey out of me.
Nope, he's not going to. Oh, wait, what is the stack? I don't think he's going to call.
I mean, he set this up so well, Jungleman.
Right.
Hellmuth knows, or Jungleman knows that people believe, or that Hellmuth believes that he can get blown off a pot with the big bet.
Yes. Right.
That's the story on Hellmuth.
Right.
Bluff him on the end with the big bet.
And he does
set
make
this
big
up like
calls.
that.
Yeah.
Look, he flatted with the kings.
Right.
And he checked the turn.
Yeah.
It is brilliant.
He
Jungle's
has
he's
brought
playing
his
into his
game here.
He's playing into his psychological thin weakness, which is this is one of Hellmuth's standards. Like let people bluff their stacks off to me, and I'll call them on the river. And Jungle knows this, but I still think he's going to fold.
The thing about Hellmuth is he really does think things through, and a lot of times
He thinks he's got ace queen of diamonds. That's what he thinks. Ace jack or ace queen of diamonds. That's what I think he thinks he's facing. I think he's going to fold, and he's going to say, if a 5 of clubs came, I think he might have called. If a 2 of hearts came, I think he's calling. But this card, I think he's going to find the fold button.
There are so many dynamics where Hellmuth can think he's getting bluffed here.
Yes. A lot of times in poker, you would play different against one person, then you would play against another person, and Hellmuth has been pretty passive so far, and he might think here's a place where I'm going to draw a line and just not.
But the story is my opponent bet called 30, boom, like that. He was beat right there. He knows he was beat right there.
By the way, guys, I mean, if Hellmuth does call here, this is not maybe just the end of this heat. This could be the end of the Premier League in like 1 hour for him. he's gonna rocket up out of that chair.
He's gonna fold.
Start running
the reason
around
the 13
room.
is on his hat is because he's been here 100 times before. He knows he can't call. He's not gonna call. He's just, but he does love walking away being the bagel guy. He loves the pain, But he does love it. If he thinks it's a call, he doesn't mind the pain. But he's gonna fold.
Who's gonna be the first?
Jesse, probability is gonna call right now. Probability you think Hellmuth is gonna call or fold? I think it's 85 fold,
Well, I
15
think
call.
Jungleman represents the kind of guys that gets
Jesse.
under his skin because he's always saying, "Oh, those internet kids," and they, and they involve with their crazy plays, and so I think that might come into play.
Wait for that.
I felt awkward saying it without him. Yeah, yeah.
know, right?
Just
Let it
talk
sit
it out
in.
loud.
Yeah,
Just talk it out loud. Talk through it.
This is what it's fun. It's like watching the pain, you know? It doesn't matter who it is. As long as it's not you, it's fun, you know?
And let's be honest, Jungleman has come up with a doozy here.
And a weird line, which might, I mean, I think he's only getting paid, like you said, 15% of the time. But it is keeping his hand quiet and clandestine, and his technique clandestine. That's why they call him Jungle. Here's the fold. There's the fold.
I played my hand badly.
I had a big pair. You'll see it on the television later. I had a big pair.
You had aces.
I felt like Jungle had aces.
I did not have aces.
Jungle had fives. Fives to five of clubs as he folded.
I had a good feeling too. I'm like, I saw that hand and I said, I'm going to win a big pot right here. I had that. I think they opposite read me.
You two both know Phil quite well. You've known him for a long time. Have you noticed a change over him the last year?
It's huge difference.
Winning the 12th and the 13th
He's a lot more
bracelet.
mellow.
You know, when he had 11 bracelets, he was always saying, you know, I'm the best player in the world. I'm the best player in the world. Now that he's got 13 and has won them in 3 decades, basically, I mean, he is the best player.
Yeah,
he knows it.
He said last night, I think he was Phil Ivey, and what was the other one he was? He said that he felt were like on his heels. Was I think Ivey and Seidel, I think, were the two they were saying. But he said because they were active, they were pretty active. Like Doyle Brunson is, you know, he's getting tired and can't play a lot of tournaments, and he said that. I think with him, the runner-ups are so far behind now that he really feels like he can breathe and not worry about people overtaking his record for a while.
We've got a pot here.
By the way, the only thing I don't like so far in this hand is that Jungle folded the 4-8 of spades. I would have called that. But I would have folded when I saw that flop. I just want to get that out of the way. Duhamel's going to call, of course. He's got a real hand. And Negreanu bet because he has a real hand.
No, he's gone for the check raise here, which is actually going to make things quite tricky for Negreanu.
And it's actually a check raise with the intent to fold if he gets a lot of heat here. If he were to get more heat with a raise, now he's in a cautious mode, super cautious. He knows that it's a legitimate queen-10 or ace-jack or king-queen, but he feels he's winning right now if it was just a call, because he's most worried about queen-10.
Duhamel does have Negreanu covered by fairly sizable amount. He might be more willing to stack off than Daniel.
King-10 and ace-jack or queens might even call. I think that's, well, he's just trying to, his pot control. Once he got called, he was worried about, you know.
Now, from Daniel's point of view here, Phil, he can beat the draws. He's betting for value here, isn't he?
Yes, it's a total bet for value play. He's thinking my opponent must have queen-10 or queen-jack, and he's testing the waters, or ace-queen or ace-10. By the way, this is it's interesting because if Duhamel's taking this line, he must just check call because it's a strong hand, but it's meeting resistance. He doesn't know what is.
Yeah, and he might be worried. Duhamel might be worried about king jack or.
Negreanu has only just over a pot size bet back.
Oh, 9. That's okay. Now it looks like it doesn't touch anyone's hand, so it's meaningless. But it's actually an active live card. It freezes the action. Negreanu was thinking maybe that's one of the cards he was worried about. Now Duhamel's going to show he has the best hand. But the 9 was like a card both of them are worried about.
So Duhamel takes that pot, and he is looking very comfortable in his debut match here at the Premier League.
My biggest win was actually the 2010 World Series of Poker main event, which I won. Obviously changed my life. Basically, I'm just never home back in Montreal. I'm just like everyone on the planet, going wherever the biggest tournament is. Going to be in Europe, going to be in Vegas, then Australia the day after. So just going everywhere at the same time and having fun. I mean, obviously, the Premier League is something real big. So to have the chance to be part of it is something pretty special. It's all very good poker players, so the challenge could be there. Like your ego gets into it also. I mean, you don't want to lose to some guys because after that, you know, they're gonna make fun of you. I mean, I want to win, so I'll do whatever I need to do to win that tournament.
The players who are new to this season's Premier League are making their mark on the opening heat. No one wants to leave with 0 points, so the pressure is on for our lineup. The first league match continues after the break. This is the Party Poker Premier League, and there are 16 players in this season's lineup. They have just been divided into 2 groups of 8. Tonight, it's Group A's turn at the felt, and they are each gunning for maximum points to go straight to the top of the league. Jesse May, Phil Laak, and Jennifer Tilley are talking us through this one.
Just raising and re-raising hands, like, yeah, for sure.
Winning hands.
Not necessarily winning hands.
Any early predictions on who the bagel boy is going to be here? I mean,
Not just open for.
is it going to be Hellmuth?
I've got everything wrong so far. Every play I've done opposite, so I'm going to go with Scott Seiver to lose now because he was my #1 pick. So, and he's also got only 171. So, but I've gotten every decision wrong. So I hope this one I get wrong too, Scott.
I know.
It's not enough.
I feel like it hurt me. I got screwed and only got $10 million.
Might have been the best thing for you. Maybe you would have been re-raising me all those times if the whole cards weren't shown, and I would have picked you off.
I mean, it forced you to play.
I don't think you would have picked me off.
You had the ace-10. That was your chance to pick Antonio off.
So guys, they're talking
Trickett's
about
very cool.
So they did see
know.
that they did see the hands, and they know what people are up to, and that's going to change everybody's game now. They're going to play according to the perception of them.
I'm glad you're finally understanding.
It doesn't matter like now.
Trickett in there with the Jack-6 on the button, by the way.
And he knows he's flopped the world now. This is different than the Jack-3 because he led and got called, and now he's checking to collect value on bets and stuff. But he knows he's winning right now. This is and he knows he has outs if he's wrong. And this is an important concept and how this is so much different than the Jack-3 cards earlier. You know what I'm saying, Jesse? Doesn't it feel different? Because he's in front position. He loves his hand, even though.
No, he's got to love that turn.
But he's still going to check
Hand's
call.
just getting better.
He's still. I don't think he's going to bet.
I just love the way that some of these players, you know, like Trickett, he's so cool. I mean, he can, you know, it's the multitasking. He can carry on a conversation,
Get a
look
massage,
like he
this,
doesn't.
that, and he's going to get
care.
called. I don't think this is a raise. There's just too many times where your opponent might have stumbled into a hand where he's not going to fold for value. I would think just calling here is the best line. And you also own the button. You know, this is a good play.
That's quite interesting because both these guys, I think Trickett and Jungleman, they may be the 2 most pure sort of Hold'em players in the entire, or maybe Marvin. But and I think they match up well against each other. They both fancy themselves in this leveling war you talk about, Phil.
Yep. By the way, you have to consider, and what Jungleman is thinking now is, I know I can't win. I know I'm beat. But can I make a 2x pop bet and get a fold from a hand like King Queen or something like this? This is what it's going through his head. This is why you got to love jungle. So he's betting 50. It looks like
It's
value.
representing the 7.
He's going for straight value, but he's trying to make it look like straight value, getting a hand like Jack to fold, or even a Queen 9 would fold a lot. So,
and what does
and you know,
this is what getting a massage to your right hand can do to you, boys and girls. Be careful, because when you get your hand massaged, and I get my hand massaged a lot, especially because I have a sports injury, you're going to be betting too much. Trust me. You get relaxed. You start thinking you can't lose. You know.
He's passed it.
I think it's a good fold. By the way, it's a good fold. It's the wrong fold here, but in the long range, I think he's supposed to fold that 80% of the time. You know, it's only if you think your opponent's bluffing, and you have to be right a lot. You know, so it's tough. It's a tough.
And on the scale of is Jungleman, how good is Jungleman playing, and how good is he looking? I mean,
you know, he's the best. He's got the scarf.
Yeah.
He's shortened his name from Jungleman to Jungle because they talk about him a lot. And he didn't do that in his own. That happened for him.
Pretty soon he'll be Jungle.
And he's got the lovely masseuse massaging his hand, which is a trigger point for all decision making. You know, his brain is relaxed.
Because like in the old days, you know, or even just a year ago, he would have had that shirt. It's a nice shirt. But without the scarf to set it off, it's nothing. You know, and the whole outfit comes alive. And look at the jungle.
You'd win every hand. You start with 5,000 in chips. You may double up. No, you would start with, listen, the limit events would start with 5,000 in chips and you play 10-20. You play limit. You win every pot. You got 5,400.
6K. 6K.
That's just stupid.
I love Scott Seiver. That's just stupid. Look at that, scarf by scarf, and then we have watch by watch, and we have nothing on their hands 3 in a row. Look at these clumpings. Nature clumpings is what we call them. We've got Negreanu, Seiver, and the other fellow there with no watches or anything on their wrists.
The money grows on
And
trees.
then we saw Marvin and Jungle with scarves that are clumped next to each other, and the Watch Boys, Trickett and Antonio, clumped together.
That was a big squeeze, Phil. Seiver with the all-in over Negreanu on the button. Now, Negreanu has been opening quite wide. This is...
Yeah, super triv call for the 9s. That's he's
Is
at the
it?
top of his range. Well, yeah, he's at the top of his range. He can have King Queen and Ace 10 and pocket 7s. Like, this is 6th best hand, you know.
This is our first big all-in of the Group A.
The pot's got 315 in it, so this is going to take whoever. They were both kind of dying,
They weren't involved
and now
in the
they're
hand,
looking
right?
for their spots. They found it.
And look how relaxed Seiver looks, you know.
Ace.
Oh, wow.
Wow, so
What a
9s
flop.
is really thin. He has to get a 9 or a runner 8-7 or
Runner,
King,
Queen,
Queen.
King,
It's
yeah.
going to be tough. What's King Queen doing?
King Queen for a chop, yeah.
But,
It is what it is. He's a Zen Buddhist.
Queens now?
Whoa.
That's fine. You know
That would be ultimately fair, perhaps.
Uh-huh.
At any point.
Oh, this is going to crush
A queen
Daniel
or a
Negreanu.
9?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You made a correct call, but
I can't be
got
upset on a queen
cold
because I'd
deck.
have been thrilled with that from the start.
Hey!
Oh,
Oh my God, it's a chop.
That's
What a
amazing.
spiritual moment that is.
Anticlimactic.
Look at how the queen turned over. 2 guys hanging in there wanting to play the game.
Wow.
We're hanging out. We were in live time just like it's going to happen. We don't know.
Did you see the relief wash over Negreanu there?
That's so awesome. Now Negreanu might win. Those kind of moments lead to wins. So from a sentimental, you're at the armchair. Daniel Negreanu has more EV in this tournament than you would think. He's been blessed right now by the poker gods. He's going to run with it. You know? When you get the blessing from the poker gods, you've got to know that's my opening to run through the hole, because they don't give you openings often, but when they give it to you, they light it up with, you know, symbolic little moments that trigger it and let you know.
Wow, really?
All I knew was that no one was going to bust this, and that's why I said I was going to win.
Yeah, right.
But I forgot about the option.
The other
of,
chop it up. 9s and ace jack. You don't usually think chop.
Yeah. I just knew there was no chance anyone was busting because Phil's a lot.
I think Phil had a bowl of Wheaties on the break. He's come alive here.
Yep. And if you're going to play a hand, play it. And that's what he's doing. Now, what are the blinds right now? 3-6?
Yeah, and he's beanpoled it. I mean, this is...
He's just making it popping 3x, huh?
Doesn't this make it tougher for Antonio to play? If he wants to 3-bet this, he's got to basically...
Esfandiari has 300,000. It's going to cost him 1/20th of his stack. Is that what it is?
So you like the call better than a re-raise?
How many times is 15 going to 300? Is that...
I think that
20.
call,
It feels like
yes.
20. I don't know what it is, but if it's 15 or more, you just call because you have set.
Yeah, he's going to see what
penalty
happens
thing.
on the flop, and maybe he can hit a set. And
20 times 150, 2 times 150 is 300. So it's either.
Well, Antonio might have 300, but Phil doesn't.
Oh, he can't get it. Oh, how much does Hellmuth have? 173. Oh, maybe it's not a call. How much did he have to put in? 18 to get 110? I would have just folded, I think.
To the queen. Snacks up check bet.
no,
Jesse,
I think
help me out.
Hellmuth opened
raised.
under the gun with 2 5s, and Esfandiari flattened in the small blind with 2 9s. Flop's gone check.
I like now betting the turn. I
Oh,
like
I thought
this.
he raised.
I don't like necessarily playing the 5s with that stack, but once you do and you get check, this is a must bet. It's a delicate, scary spot, but it's a must bet, and it's because if your opponent had something that connected there anyways, you would have already heard about it. This is he's going to fold all the ace, X of spades, and all the small pairs, and you turn your hand into a winner. This is a good bet, and I like that. And that would be a common line for a lot of the smart guys. That's not just me peddling you some random gibberish.
A lot of respect given to Hellmuth. I mean, Antonio, yeah?
Antonio told him he had 9s. I think Hellmuth said I had kings. So.
Esfandiari was good at reading the hand, but you know, that's one of those risk-reward things. Antonio might know, oh, there's a range for that, but it's very important not to bagel or get 5th in these, or sorry, 7th or 8th is bad, just bad.
Now you can understand why I'm disappointed to confess.
Traditionally, in this sort of format, the blinds kind of sneak up on you. You know, one moment you're kind of playing tight, and then all of a sudden it's 10-20. I wonder if Mad Marvin Rettenmaier is going to get himself in a little bit of trouble. He's kind of feels like he's dribbling.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to let your stack get dribbled away.
Speaking of dribbling, what's the ante and the blinds right now? Well, how much do they have to ante?
The blinds are 3-6.
Yep. Okay, it's 3-6 with 1K ante, so it's going to cost you 8.
I've seen you do
all
all
the times.
Yeah, and someone probably
9, 17,000 is that what it is?
And some of it's factual, some of it's made up.
3-6 is 9 plus 8.
Speaking of Marvin,
I've seen you do it.
Okay, we're getting something going on here. And remember, people are thinking, oh, I have.
Ace Queen has not been good for Rettenmaier at this table.
People can, on average, they can look at like 17 orbits.
I mean, is Marvin under threat here before the flop? Could he actually get all his chips in right now?
Marvin wants to. He's got 205. Of course, the blinds are 3-6. He has whatever number of big blinds he wants to get it in for
he
sure.
He has a premium hand if Trickett
like
re-raises, and it's not going to be such a good move to call.
Who's his opponent? Let's see. Rettenmaier.
It's Trickett.
Sam Trickett. They're gonna.
So he feels like he's either got a fold.
Trickett is for sure gonna re-raise. Now this is a spot call. He could fold.
You mean Rettenmaier? Trickett already re-raised.
Well, don't forget.
Trickett can never fold this hand. He has the golden nuts in his mind right here.
Don't forget, Phil. Rettenmaier folded the Ace Queen earlier in this heat to a 3-bet from Negreanu. I mean, how different is this one?
Well, who was the button?
I think he might. I think even if he thinks he's looking at jacks or something, it's just too important not to be the first one out.
Wow, he might make another amazing fold, and good folds are good poker. He's just going to find the fold. Wow, Marvin.
Look at him go.
This guy's the
awesome.
best. I love you, Marvin.
He's got so cold.
Marvin, that's how you play Ace Queen, kid.
And it looks like Trickett showed his hand.
He did.
That was a class pass.
Wow.
That was a class pass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Survival. It's so important to not die in these tournaments, and look at how easy it was to. That's like giving up Ace Jack of clubs. These hands are real, but you have to give them up there, and it's.
Especially he has to feel beaten down because he's picked up premium hands, and he may not know it, but he's always had someone else has had a better hand, and he's had to do a lot of folding, and that's got to
And by the
be
way,
hard.
now the poker gods may shift their love from Negreanu to Marvin because they're going to respect the humble. See how humble and passive and okay with that moment he was. He just let it pass. The poker gods love when you can just respect the flow and see, oh, that wave is bigger, and let it pass. Like it's okay.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to get tilted. That's for sure.
We are still 8-handed here in the first heat of Premier League Group A, and remember, players are trying to accumulate points based on 4 heats of play with this same group.
And even like, are insta calls allowed? I would like to give one.
And now this is a straight call. This is
a cooler hand here.
Well,
it's only a cooler for one guy. Remember, one guy is gonna feel like it was delicious.
Oh wow, he's gonna.
These hands determine so many points right now.
It's not even 800 chunk change.
Flop is 10. King.
Oh right in the window.
King is the guillotine.
King, guillotine.
Oh, you can straight.
Okay, that one only works too.
That's interesting.
Now the queen again, right? I should get it both ways, I assume.
The Queen of Hearts again?
I mean, I feel I should get it both ways, right? Just fairness.
Edward, don't do it.
Oh man,
doesn't happen.
So our champion is the first one out this year.
What is going on?
Unfortunate.
And if history is any indication, Seiver is going to have a real tough time coming back from the Bagel Boy. 0 points in the first heat.
Got to take out the reigning champ, right?
Now, traditionally, it hasn't done well for the players who go out first in the first heat. But last year, you were the champion, and you actually got 0 points in one of the heats. So talk to me about what this means for you.
It's no big deal. You just keep playing your game, and things go well. It's a long series, and it's just not a problem.
We are down to 7 here in Group A's first league match. The action continues after the break.
We've just seen the first player of this season's Premier League exit the game. Scott Seiver, last year's champion, leaves with 0 points. It's a disappointing start, but with 3 matches left to play, he still has plenty of time to win enough points to see him through to the final table. So for now, we are down to 7 players. Let's rejoin Jesse May, Phil Laak, and Jennifer Tilley.
So the next person out gets what, 1 point or?
2 points.
2 points. So that's, everybody's got to be happy to see Scott go also too. He's such a strong opponent.
Yeah, he was, by the way, I predicted correctly that it couldn't be him to win because it was my prediction. I've gotten every prediction wrong. So now if Negreanu wins it, then I had one prediction that was right. But every time I predicted, I was wrong.
You're 100% wrong.
I'm running 100% anti-barometer.
Very nice. Up to 28K now with the bet.
Esfandiari, did he do something? Yes, he's deciding to be. Now this is interesting because now you see when you call here, it's no longer, hey, multiply by 15. No one's going to have that stack anymore.
Well, Duhamel's opened this up, and I mean, Antonio, did he?
I think this is a fold, by the way. I would fold Trickett's 8s here, and the reason why is it's gone money and then money. 2 levels of aggression. In the most times you're beat, and this time it happens to be you can get in there, no problem.
How
well,
good?
Duhamel has to fold here.
But look at this. Antonio sees I've got the button. Duhamel's range is so wide, he might be going for a steal. Duhamel
might re-raise.
It would be super legit.
It's kind of a Vanessa Selp sort of thing, isn't it, Phil? You know,
it's a leveling word.
She would say you don't open with the king 3 here unless it's a 2-4.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Duhamel might not want to get involved here.
Because Duhamel might be thinking, Antonio's thinking, I'm raising in the cutoff.
Look at this.
Go on,
do it, Duhamel. Teach him a lesson.
Show him,
it would be really awesome if you re-raised.
Yes, I love it. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now Antonio's going to snap fold this. There's no way. He doesn't see he has fold
He's
equity.
a bit of a tiger.
I love this play. I love that Duhamel did it. He's like, you know what? And he has been very tight.
I don't think you suspect that of Duhamel.
Oh,
that kind of crazy play.
He went 7 ways with Joseph Chung at the final table of the main event. Of course, he had queens.
Oh,
at
I
the
didn't
time.
watch the main event.
But this is interesting because it's just Duhamel saying, you want to play pots with me? It's going to be an acid-licking, hot, searing experience. You better have legit stuff.
Right.
And he knows that from a base theory, from the past, his hand entering frequency is too high.
And is Duhamel also saying to him, look, buddy, we're going to be here 4 days.
Yeah, it's like, I know what you're thinking. I know you.
Antonio's trying to figure out.
That would be
by the way, he's trying to figure out,
genius.
does my opponent have the math to fold 10s or ace-queen or king-queen? Does he have the math to fold those hands if I go all in? And I don't think the answer is yes, it is by a little bit, but I think he's, all things considered, it's too much of a risk to put his stack at.
What is happening
he's going to fold. Antonio's going to fold. That's my prediction, and it's a 92% fold.
Now he is in position.
There's just too much at risk for the play to go through.
He has such a huge stack to play with.
He just flew 12 hours on a plane with me. I know he's not putting all of his chips in here.
I mean, peeling.
He's folding.
And peeling's a mistake, right?
Peeling's a super blunder.
Wow.
He's going to show.
Yes! Game on!
Meet the 2010 World Champion of Poker.
Do you guys want to change it to show 1 card?
Nah, no.
Antonio did not like that at all. He's bummed.
No, he is, because he knew he had a chance to be super 18 kid 18 million boy and prove to the world, look at this, I know, and whatever. But it would have been a blunder in the end.
You know, go back and think about Jonathan Duhamel in this heat. He has actually picked up terrible cards, not just bad cards.
Yeah, he's had
super
terrible bad cards, and he's at 500.
He has been playing very well.
I mean, he may be playing the best poker on this table.
Yeah, he's been playing amazing.
Yes, Jungle is up there though. Jungle is doing like
some
some good stuff with his betting lines are so hard to predict and hard to sort out. But I'm going to go with Duhamel's a tad better because what Duhamel did there was just a pure fire move, you know, and that gets everyone's blood going. That's different because, you know, Jungle's plays have been technical and line-oriented shifting, but Duhamel just did a straight fire ant move, you know. Oh my God, this hand is going to Jungle in every way.
Really?
Checks.
It's like, oh my, wow, I didn't see this, a set of 4s. This is all the money's going in. That's what I mean to say, actually.
Well, these are 2 huge stacks.
These are, oh my God. The money absolutely has to go all in.
Absolutely.
You can't look at ace jack of spades and not raise here. It's important to get the value out of your flush draw and your jack.
Well, first Duhamel's up. Now, Negreanu's led in continuation bet.
Yeah.
So it's standard for Duhamel to flat here, right?
But they both have very large stacks, so maybe they're not going to go crazy.
Jungle, I don't mind this so much, but I personally would have just
you would have jammed there if you were Jungleman?
I would have jammed it. It would have been wrong. Look at this, because the set is out there, and you know you're not batting good against the set. So All right, this is now. It's very important that fours checks. He's gotten some action out there. He wants a spade draw to get there or a two-pair thing. Look, if
How
somebody has ace
dead
queen,
is Daniel right now?
Right.
0% is what it is,
Right.
and it would show that he's way off his game if he gets involved.
It would show he
here.
has
Just two.
heart. It would show he has heart
Look
if
at this.
he
Look
takes
at
a
how-
stab at that. No.
Wow, Duhamel checks his full house, hoping that that was insane.
Now, why did Duhamel check there? Is he
I
trying to
like that
what?
check in a way. He's trying to let people catch up. Somebody with ace queen or a flush draw to catch up, hit a queen or a spade. I like his check, and it also means that in the river, if a blank comes off, some people might try and go for an orphan bet, or the ace might bet for value. So I don't mind this play at all. Don't bet, Jungle. It's wrong. Don't do it. Even from a long-range perspective, it has to be wrong.
Well, it looks like
But
he's
look at
making
this.
a bit
I
of
was
a
wrong again.
defensive bet.
Every guess I've made tonight has been wrong. This is another one.
Well, he's bet 1/4 pot, which is a really interesting bet. And it's the kind of bet that
he has
you
done.
induce a bluff sometimes even, right? I mean,
Negreanu's wondering if he can take it away from Jungleman. He'll fold. He's got somebody coming after him.
Yeah, he's got the guy behind him. He doesn't even have a hand. He has king high. Just whatever. You can't win a hand on a move against two players. It's wrong to go for it so many
There's
times.
a lot of checking going
now,
on.
Phil, obviously, you know, Duhamel's going to go back and think to himself, did I misplay this? Could I have gotten more money in the pot on the flop and turn? I mean...
Well, he's just hoping that his opponent has two deuces in his hand, which is never going to be the case, or pocket aces. Now,
he got quads.
Right.
These hands aren't really out there. He knows he's against an ace. He's just trying to get at value. So he's thinking I'm going to raise like 65 or something.
He's
That's
thinking,
what
how little can I raise
he's going to put in 95 to 100.
and not make it look suspicious? He's like wanting to get called, but he's pretty sure if he raises that Jungleman is going to fold.
But he obviously wants to call.
just, like,
I think he's going to go
figuring
for
out how much to raise. I think he might
105
min-raise.
is my guess. Oh, he's going for 118. God, I'm in the zone. I wasn't far off. But this is exactly the kind of range. You know, 67 more. It's just like,
well,
this is a great bet. I love the sizing. The sizing is really important. This is a technical thing you learn from seeing 2 million hands online.
I mean, from Jungleman's point of view, Duhamel could easily have 1-4 here, right?
Yeah, 1-4. Just a 4.
The story checks out in a sense.
Every way, in every absolute way. This is he could have had 4-5, 4-3.
Force.
Wow, did he just call?
Did he call?
He did. That's a bad call.
That makes sense, I guess.
I don't like that call.
It's funny how you
He's
feel.
picking off only a bluff there, Jesse and Jennifer. Only a bluff. That's a bluff catcher, and I don't
But
like
it's
that.
funny how you feel embarrassed when the person has quads. Like, what are the odds the other person has quads? But you're always like embarrassed. Like, oh, I should have known.
It's like the only hand that makes sense. Slow played quads.
Destroying the Premier League Poker 6 is what Jonathan Duhamel is doing in his debut so far. 3 levels in.
Only one of our players will walk out with maximum points and go straight to the top of the table. Join us next time as this Premier League match continues here at Asper's Casino in Westfield, Stratford City.
Oh my God, come on, man. Don't worry, kid. You keep coming over the top of me. We'll see what happens.
Gonna hurt. Don't do it.
Hang on to that cab just a minute. No! Wow.